So in the last random bits, which was yesterday, I just had too much stuff to really film. So this is going to be kind of all the extra stuff from yesterday. Oh, and by the way, I'm doing even better today for my wisdom teeth, and it looks like I'm not going to have any issues, because I was still kind of afraid that I'd have a dry socket, but it looks like I'm not going to, because just today I just started eating kind of regular food, and it feels pretty good. First off, we have my Weidenhof, or Weidenhof, depending on if it's a German pronunciation, 0 to 25 DC voltmeter. Let's hook it up to my power supply. We have the power coming out here. I believe has a little X on the bottom of here, as you can see. So that's positive, of course. It's kind of nice. These things are so long that it makes it sit on the table almost perfectly. Hey, look at that. It works. Unfortunately, my power supply is broken, so it doesn't go all the way to 30 volts. So that'd be kind of cool if I could. But it occurred to me, I have something else that can go to 30 volts. These are little hand-wound generator things and flashlights that my grandmother gave me for Christmas. This one has a radio on it and a flashlight. I've already been kind of tinkering around with them, and, well, I already fried this one, kind of. I fried the radio to where before it would run off of like 100 milliamps, but now when you turn it on, it takes like 3 amps to operate, and when one of the resistors gets really hot. We can do a video where we fix that some other day. But I can take this, and I can hook this connector up into it. This is just a random connector I had laying around. Happens to kind of fit in there, but it fits good enough. I really like the style of this meter. Looks really cool. Yeah, it's pulling a short circuit on that radio. See, this radio thing actually has this little nickel metal hydride battery going to the side here. It's, so let's see, 3.6 volts and 350 milliamp hours. It's quite small. And that's normally meant to handle the electrical devices on this. So you could run the radio.
In Carbondale, it was cloudy and the temperature was 35.
Now, of course, that radio, when I turn that on now, is pulling like 2 amps from the battery, so it gets quite toasty. But the LEDs still work. I'm thinking, for some reason, whenever I fried this, I just fried like the FM band or whatever, but the weather radio still works, so that's pretty cool. But by taking this out, I can actually have a little generator. So I'm also tempted to take this and modify it by adding a little like DC step-up converter. So I could actually have a little dial on it so I could go 0 to 30 volts. Turns out though, this thing actually outputs 30 volts. And I found that out the hard way, because I was just tinkering around with charging up capacitors and then seeing how long it would run the radio and stuff like that. Well, I cranked it around really hard without any load on it, so that means that it cranked the voltage up on the capacitor to about 35 volts. And well, I turned on the radio and it fried the radio. Oh well. This other little one runs off just a little CR2032 on the inside, so it's quite small. It's also solar powered, but I doubt that solar panel has much power at all. Probably take a week to charge up the battery. It's odd though, because I always see CR2032s in stuff like this, or like those flashlights that you shake up. They have like the magnet inside them that generates power. But I didn't think that CR2032s were meant to be rechargeable, so that's odd. But anyway, this one probably outputs about 3 volts, and if I really cranked it hard, I could probably get 5 or 6 volts to charge like USB or something. We should do projects with these someday. Well, anyway, I found this at a thrift store recently. It's called a Portalite. It's kind of weird. It's like from the 1970s or something, or 60s. I just happen to have D batteries for my Geiger counter over here. That's nice. Odd. Weird. I couldn't pass that up for $1.50. It's all kind of complete. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, and for the main other thing I was going to show you guys, this. Finally, the teeth that were extracted from my mouth. My wisdom teeth. It's kind of weird. These are the ones that were my upper teeth that were pulled out whole. Hooked in there pretty hard, I guess. Ah, looks better on the white background. It's so interesting. The tops of those teeth are so weird. I don't think I had that many white spots on my teeth. Maybe that came on there after they were extracted. These cross sections are quite cool too. So there's that tooth. That's one of the lower ones. I think that's the lower right one. I don't know. It seems a lot smaller than the other tooth. Huh, it's weird. One's bigger than the other one. Yeah, this is probably the one that gave me a lot of pain, because one side of my jaw is still kind of swollen, just a little bit. But the other one's perfectly fine. This is probably one that's still a little sore. This is probably my right tooth. As you can see, he drilled through there. And then what he did was he took like a tool type thing. Basically, it was like a screwdriver, and he wedged it in there, and I could hear like that as it cracked. And then he came in with like a pair of pliers or something and pulled out the top part and pulled out the bottom part. This one has like a ball or something at the bottom of it. Kind of locks it in place with the other one. He really drilled through that one pretty quick. These teeth were kind of hidden under the skin pretty well. I think this is the one that was hidden the most. It's kind of weird though that it has such odd shapes on the top of it. I always would have figured that the teeth would have been kind of like uniformly jagged, not like this random jaggedness on here. Unless, I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting to see how teeth wear out over time. I assume that part right there, those lines, they're like tool markings. I guess that's where he had to pull on it or something. Don't really want to know what this stuff is. Probably part of my gum. Then we have the upper ones. They look kind of scary. But yet they also look almost like a candy corn. It's so weird how they bent over like that. It's almost like it was designed not to fall out, which of course they are. They are evolved to not fall out, but it's just interesting to see that. It still is weird how there is still a yellowness to the tooth underneath, even the area that was even slightly exposed. Another odd thing is how we have those white spots inside the teeth. It's probably because, like, one time I was sick or something like that, because I think I've heard that things like that can do that. Whenever you have like a really bad fever, it can whiten your teeth, like that one. I know my father has some streaks in his teeth from when he had a really bad fever when he was a kid, or at least I think, yeah. I had a pretty bad fever like when I was 15 or so, I think, like really bad, like for a week and a half. So maybe that's from that. Teeth are just so weird. And they're amazing too. It's amazing how long they can last. I'm kind of curious if the teeth are radioactive at all. You have the test. Yep. So it's on. Nope. Not much more than background radiation. Now, of course, I could set it here for a couple minutes and count every click, then move it away and count every click, and I might see like a little increase. But I really don't. The CDV 700 isn't really accurate enough to detect. It's kind of a shame. I can never really get a piezoelectric speaker or anything to sound really loud on this. Because it would be nice if this thing can make a nice audible click. I know they do sell little adapters on eBay for like $30, but I wonder if maybe I know it's probably like the resistance of the speaker that I'm using or whatever, but it'd be interesting to know how to make a good like sound speaker on that, you know? Because having a Geiger counter just like that doesn't really help much. I mean, sure it does. It's pretty cool still, but you want that clicking sound because the clicking sound's cool. So yeah, that's my teeth. It's really odd. I was kind of expecting them to look a little different. I don't know. I wasn't expecting those white blotches on them. Here recently I've been thinking about upgrading my Geiger counter. Because the batteries on the bottom, well, I don't really use this thing very often. And the batteries have gone bad at least once already on me. Because I opened it up and all the paint was melted away and there was acid and stuff down there. Of course it was just alkaline acid, so it wasn't too bad. But still, it's just kind of annoying because this was all like pristine and original in there and then it kind of got ruined. Just kind of weird how it just didn't really corrode it too much. It just cleanly took off all the paint. But I'm thinking, well, on the bottom of this, the Geiger counter runs off, I think it just runs off 2 sets of 3 volts. Because, I don't know, maybe it links it together to make 6 volts, but I'm thinking it only needs 2 3-volt power supplies. I'm curious if the CDV 700 could run off 2.7 volts, because I happen to have 2 supercapacitors. Oh, that was over here. So I have 2 supercapacitors, and they are close to the right voltage, although unfortunately these are at 3.2 volts together when they're fully charged, and these are at 2.7 volts when they're fully charged. It would be kind of cool if I could switch these out to where to have 1 capacitor for each thing, and that'd be probably like 15 minutes of power or whatever. But I'm thinking running at 2.7 volts instead of 3.2 would most likely make it to where it would be, well, this is probably out of whack because it was last calibrated in like 1994, but I think it would be even more out of whack because of that. And also I wouldn't want to fry this because I have a tendency of frying things, as we've already seen, especially when I deal with capacitors. Oh well. I guess I'll just keep these out and just put them back in when I need them. That's worked the best so far. I plan on working on some X-ray related projects someday, and so I can actually use this thing, because that'd be kind of cool. And I don't want to expose myself to a lot of X-rays though, so I'm going to be investing in a good amount of lead shielding if I do. I kind of got off topic. I set out to make a video just about the meter and just about the teeth. Kind of got around everything, but oh well. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. See ya!